Hello, everyone. Kiri from the Red Dawn here, and welcome back to the channel. So you can see here, I'm drinking in my sorrows at the moment. Um, but yeah, we're here to talk about Liverpool again, aren't we? Liverpool nil, PSG 2. I'm empty, just completely empty. Anfield, it's supposed to be the place where miracles happen, where European giants come to die. But tonight, or last night, as I'm recording this video, it felt like a tactical funeral. 4-0 on aggregate to PSG, no goals in 180 minutes of football. Luis Enrique, he didn't beat us last night. Arne Slot did. He overthought it. He played football manager with the biggest game of the season, and we paid the ultimate price. When I looked at the team selection, I was very, very surprised to see Alexander Isak on the team sheet. His first start since late December. The reasoning all behind it, according to Slot, he claimed that he didn't want to use Isak as a sub because of extra time. But the reality was Isak was unfit and he looked like a ghost. He had zero impact, managing just 5 touches before being hauled off at halftime. To make matters worse, Hugo Ekitike, our top goal scorer this season, went down with what looked like a serious injury in the 31st minute. The sight of him being carried off while Mo Salah sat on the bench until that moment was the first sign that Slot's game management was falling apart. It forced Slot to bring Salah on earlier than he clearly planned, and within 60 seconds of coming on, Salah whipped in a trademark cross that carved the PSG defence open. It fell to Kirkes, and only a desperate last-ditch block from Marquinhos prevented an early certain Virgil van Dijk goal on the rebound. The frustration for fans, and even myself, is that Salah was clearly the player for this occasion. Slot's pre-match comments suggesting Salah's defensive work rate didn't match the intensity needed for PSG looked absolutely foolish the moment Mo started terrorising them. To see Salah look so dangerous only to be let down by his manager, or should I say Arne Slot, felt like a cruel way for his Champions League career at a Liverpool shirt to end. He did everything but score, proving that even at this stage, of his career, a world-class player like Salah is still more effective than a player thrown in who isn't match fit ready at this level. Watching him and Van Dijk look I'm struggling with words here. Watching him and Van Dijk look dejected at the final whistle was the image that summed up the night. The legends were ready, but the game plan wasn't. Vitinha ran the midfield like a puppet master pulling the strings, leaving Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch chasing shadows. Half time, the score was 0-0 again. Another scoreless first half. We saw it against Spurs at Anfield, Fulham at Craven Cottage, and Arsenal at the Emirates. And once again, it happened on the biggest stage in the Champions League. In the second half, there was a 20-minute window that the only time it felt like a true Liverpool performance. It was a whirlwind of high pressing and desperation that pinned PSG back and make their backline look genuinely mortal. At half time, Slot realised the Isak experiment had failed by bringing on Cody Gakpo in the centre forward position. And as much as we bagged him all season, the front line finally had a focal point. Suddenly, the long balls had someone to stick to, and the second balls were being won by Dominic Szoboszlai, who was an engine all night, winning duels in the final third, leading to 3 quick-fire corners. One of them saw a Van Dijk header cleared off the line by Nuno Mendes, the closest we had come all night. And then in the 64th minute was the explosion and the theft. It all culminated in the McAllister drive. He played a 1-2 with Gakpo, burst into the box, and showed incredible strength to hold off Vitinha. And as he prepared to pull the trigger, William Pancho came flying in. The contact was clear. Macca went down. The referee pointed to the spot, and for about 60 seconds, Anfield believed. The noise was deafening. It was the kind of roar that usually precedes a historic comeback. Those 20 minutes proved that the PSG masterclass was actually a result of our own passive setup in the first half. When we played the Liverpool way, fast, vertical, and aggressive, PSG had no answers. The fact that this period ended not with a goal, but with a VAR official overstepping his bounds is what makes the 2-0 final score so hard to take. We had him on the ropes, we had the momentum, and we had the penalty. To have it all snatched away by a screen in the booth was the ultimate gut punch. From there, from there, it was all said and done. Once Usman Dembele found the net in the 72nd minute, the mountain became a vertical wall. It wasn't just a goal, it was the psychological fallout of the VAR decision 10 minutes earlier. Liverpool had thrown everything, their pride, their energy, and their legends, all at the PSG wall, and it had finally cracked them. The goal itself was a masterclass in PSG's maturity under Luis Enrique. Bradley Barcola, who tormented us all night, found space on the counter. He didn't rush it. He waited for the overlap, drew the defence in, and teed up Dembele. I wish we could see that with our side. Dembele's strike was cold, a curled effort into the bottom corner that left Georgi Mamadashvili with no chance. It was the Ballon d'Or quality, the clinical edge that separates champions from challengers. If what we thought was done wasn't, the second goal in the 92nd minute was almost cruel. By that point, the belief had vanished. Dembele's second, again assisted by the electric Barcola, was just a confirmation of the 4-0 aggregate scoreline. It made a hard-fought contest look like a comfortable stroll for the holders, which, for those about 20 minutes in the second half, it absolutely wasn't. To make matters worse, not only this was Salah's final Champions League game as a Liverpool player, it was also Andy Robertson's, and he didn't play a single minute. He sat on the bench all game. It's an absolute travesty for a player who has been a pillar of the most successful era in the club's modern history to have his final Champions League appearance in a Liverpool shirt be a 90-minute stint on the bench is almost impossible to swallow. On nights like these, you need players who understand the chaos of a European comeback. Robbo is the embodiment of that. I talked about this in the match preview yesterday. Without his relentless running, our left side looked static. PSG found it far too easy to keep us pinned back because they didn't fear the counter press from our fullbacks. Instead of a roaring standing ovation for a man who has won every trophy possible in red, his Champions League story ends with a tracksuit on and a view of Dembele wheeling away in celebration. It's a cold way for a working class hero of the Klopp era to bow out of Europe. If this was the plan to phase him out for the new era, doing it in a do or die quarterfinal backfired spectacularly. Slot didn't just lose the tactical battle, he lost a bit of the soul that Robbo has provided for years. Let's get into the player ratings. Gee whiz. I need another drink. Starting off with our goalkeeper, Georgi Mamadashvili. I'll turn off the ratings on FOTMob. Yeah, what can we say about Georgie? Didn't have much to do. Had a fairly quiet night until the 72nd minute. We know he's a shot stopper. Not much good with the distribution, but you know, he couldn't do much about the counter-attack goals. So with that, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Jeremy Frimpong was brought on the right-hand side to take on Barcola. But, you know, well, actually to take on Kudashika, which I can't bloody pronounce. But his pace was needed against him, but he just struggled all night to provide the usual attacking outlet we needed to overturn the deficit. And just once again got caught out on the defense. I still think he's a right wing back and not a right back at all. He gets a 5 out of 10. Ibrahima Kanate, strong in the air. He made some crucial recoveries. And best out of the two centre backs, and he gets the man of the match for me, 8 out of 10. Virgil van Dijk almost scored a vital opener for us, but was denied by the massive Marquinhos block. He gets a 7. He led well, but the high line was punished late on, but he wasn't alone for that one. But, both our centre backs fought valiantly. Milos Kerkez, he can hold his head up high. One of the few bright spots. Always defending tenaciously. And he was arguably our best attacking threat down the left. He gets a 7.5. Moving on to the midfield, Ryan Gravenberg. I thought he controlled the tempo well in the first half, but once again just faded away as the midfield from PSG just tightened their grip on the game. He gets a 5. Dominic Szoboszlai, frustrating night for him. Plenty of energy that you always get. But again, just like that final product in the final third that we just desperately needed to spark a comeback. I'm going to give him maybe 5.5. I think it's fair. I'm probably going to give him a 5.5 because you always get the work rate from Dom. It's just the final third. Alexis McAllister, won the penalty that was eventually overturned. He worked hard, but just couldn't find a way to break down the PSG low block, and he also got booked, which would have got him suspended in the next round if we progressed. He gets a 5 out of 10. Florian Wirtz showed flashes, tried to make things happen between the lines, but PSG suffocated him out effectively. Another disappointing outlet from Florian Wirtz. He gets a 4.5. Hugo Ekitike, just devastating to see him go off with that on the stretcher. And even beforehand, he was just struggling to get into the game, which now looks like in his season, he's going to be out for quite some time. He gets a 5, but prayers up for Hugo. Wishing you all the best, mate. Alexander Isak, not fit. Just clearly not fit at all. He clearly lacked the match sharpness, and in my opinion, he shouldn't have started in this one. The gamble didn't pay off a slot. He gets a 4 out of 10. And at the moment, he looks like the only available striker we've got. And can't believe I'm saying it as well. It was only 6 months ago we broke the British transfer record to get him in. He was going to be the number one, but that was Hugo's spot, and now he's coming in with probably not even 80% match fitness. Gee whiz, it's a shit situation to be in. But look, the good times will come for Isak, but at the moment he's just not at it. He's clearly behind the 8 ball. Mohamed Salah, which we'll move on to the substitutes. I'm just reading my notes as well. Yeah, here he is, Mohamed Salah. Yeah, look, we knew he came on for Ekitike, tried to make something happen, but unfortunately, it wasn't the fairy tale ending we hoped for. For a rating, he gets a 6 out of 10, as he was one of our better attackers on the pitch. Joe Gomez came on at halftime for Frimpong to provide a more defensive stability, and he actually did well when he was on there. He nearly scored with a header from a corner, but unfortunately his night was cut short just after 30 minutes due to an injury risk precaution. Gets a 6 in his short cameo. Cody Gakpo. You're all going to be surprised, but I'm going to give him a 6 because he actually brought real life into the attack. He forced the PSG keeper and Savinov into a great save, but it just wouldn't go. But otherwise, I thought he put in a decent shift. Ria Ingamoa, yeah, he should have come on a lot more earlier, or even halftime at least. I could understand why he probably wouldn't start in this game in a Champions League against more bigger bodied players. But his dribbling and directness caused PSG more problems in 15 minutes than most of all of our other attackers had all night. He should have started a lot earlier, in my opinion. For a rating, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Curtis Jones, tough one for him. Came off late from McAllister when the game was already said and done. Try to provide some of that ball retention and composure in the middle of the park, but he really struggled to really impose himself on the game. He probably gets about a 5 or a 5.5. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the match review between Liverpool and PSG. So unfortunately, the Reds bow out in the Champions League, and yeah, it looks like there's no trophies at all this season. So yeah, now the only goal is to secure Champions League football for next season. We are sitting 5th in the Premier League table with 52 points, I believe. Let me get the screen back up. Yeah, 5th with 52 points. We know Chelsea, they are hanging in there. And we do have Everton in the Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Then I think Manchester United at the Old Trafford. And then, yeah, Chelsea at Anfield. So 3 winnable games in the Champions League, 3 winnable games in the Premier League to secure our Champions League spot. We have to win all 3 of these if we want to play in Champions League next season. But that's about it. Thanks for watching the match review. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all for the match preview against Everton in the Merseyside derby. And stay tuned for the Andy Robertson video as well. Thanks, guys. Take care. Be kind to one another. And as always, up the Reds.